All right, good evening, everyone. This is the public session of the Durham District School Board Audit Committee meeting, and I'd like to start by calling the meeting to order. And let me start with the land acknowledgement. Durham District School Board acknowledges that many Indigenous nations have long-standing relationships, both historic and modern, with the territories upon which our school board and schools are located. Today, this area is home to many Indigenous peoples from across Turtle Island, North America. We acknowledge that the Durham regions form a part of the traditional and treaty territory of the Mississaugas of Scugog Island First Nation, the Mississauga peoples, and the treaty territory of the Chippewas of Georgina Island First Nation. It is on these ancestral and treaty lands that we teach, learn, and live. Hey. Moving on, may I ask for any calls of declaration of conflict of interest? Okay, and seeing none, I will move on to an approval of the agenda for this evening. Can I ask for someone to motion the approval of the agenda? Maybe my hands. Olafunke, thank you. And do I need a second? Is that Shailene? Am I seeing properly on my screen? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I see the thumb up in the small corner. I couldn't tell. Thank you very much. So the agenda is approved, and let me move on to approval of the audit committee meeting minutes from the September 20th meeting. Again, can I call for someone a motion to move to approve? And watching. Stephen, thank you. And a seconder to that. And Michelle, thank you. And good to see you online, Michelle. You made your connection. Thank you for that. With that done, we're going to move into the business of the evening, and I will call on Superintendent Wright to walk us through the report on the financial process and the 2022-2023 financial statements.
Thanks very much, Madam Chair. Good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure actually to welcome and introduce Melissa Durwood, Senior Finance Manager, who's going to present this portion of the agenda.
Thank you. Good evening, and through you, Chair. Tonight's report can be found beginning on page 3 of the package. The purpose of tonight's report is to provide the audit committee with an overview of the financial process of the board, as well as to present the 2022-2023 financial statements. As background in the report tonight, we provide some information around the financial process of the board, including details about the financial layers of financial governance and oversight at the school board. The main layers are, of course, the Education Finance Committee, which is largely involved in the budgeting process, the Audit Committee that meets throughout the year, as well as the Board of Trustees. To support this process and those layers of governance, of course, our senior management, as well as the various audit functions, internal, regional, and external. In section 3.2 of the state report tonight, we have an infographic there just to demonstrate where we are in the financial cycle for the year ended August 31st, 2023. So we're at the final stage, the financial statement stage. We are about to embark in the new year on the process again for the 24-25 school year, and the results of these financial statements will help to inform that process. Section 4 includes the analysis in tonight's report. So attached to the report as Appendix A this evening are the draft audited consolidated financial statements. And I'm pleased to report that there's a clean audit opinion again this year. Further along in this section, we've noted some of the key financial figures from the statements. From the consolidated statement of financial position, we have the total financial assets, liabilities, and non-financial assets. And the non-financial assets are primarily the tangible capital assets of the board. New this year in the consolidated statement of financial position is the asset retirement obligation liability. And this is a new accounting standard that public sector bodies were required to implement. For the board, it was the 22-23 fiscal year. And the implementation of this accounting standard has been carried out on a modified retroactive basis approach at the direction of the ministry. The total liability reported in the financial statements is 33 million. And what this liability represents is that there is an ultimate cost at the end of the life of the assets that the board holds. Some of those assets, there's a cost to either dispose of the asset, tear it down, sell it, etc. Primarily for the board, it relates to asbestos containing construction materials contained in buildings of a certain age, as is common across the sector. Moving along to the consolidated statement of operations. Total annual revenues for the year, 997.6 million. Overall expenditures were 987.8 million, resulting in an overall surplus for the year, showing the board in a strong financial position. As I mentioned, the full statements and notes are attached to the report this evening. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Melissa. Are there any questions from the committee with respect to the report or the financial statements? Okay, seeing none, I will thank you, Melissa, again for your sharing and for the work done to close the year end with the positive surplus result. That's good outcome. Thank you. May I call for a motion to approve the financial statements? I guess the motion is. Motion.
Madam Chair, there is a recommendation in the package, section 8 of the report on page 7, if you're looking for potential language.
Yeah, I just scrolled it. Thank you. So the recommendations that the audit committee recommend to the Board of Trustees that the 2022-23 audited financial statements of the Durham District School Board, including transfers to and from internally restricted funds, be approved as presented. And do I have a motion to approve? From Michelle, thank you. A seconder? Shailene, thank you very much. Oh, thank you. So the recommendation and motion is so moved. Thank you. Moving on to other business, I'll do a call to see, is there any other business for the committee this evening? Seeing no other business, we will move on to note that the next meeting of the public session of the committee is scheduled for March 20th, 2024 in the new year. And with that, I'll call for a motion to adjourn. Shailene, thank you. And Stephen, thank you so much. With that, we'll adjourn the session of the public session and move into our closed session. Thank you.